So I had over 20 credit cards and I was about $27,000 in debt. Welcome to Rooted and Rising, where we focus on becoming whole through the mind, body, and spirit together. My name is Lamisa. All right, girl. When was the last time you looked at your bank account and felt good? And when was the last time you ate something without watching TV, without being on the phone, without having to attend to your kids? No judgment, because today we're fixing both. Okay, because I'm going to tell the truth. Every time I seen my mom go to the store, she swiped the credit card, swiped the credit card. So naturally, I thought that was the right thing to do, to get a whole bunch of credit cards. And that's what I did. Oh, you want me to talk about all of that? And you want me to tell you about the bill also? I just naturally thought that that was the way of life. Everybody used the credit card. So when I got my credit card, I put like $1,000 on the credit card, but my payment was only $25. So when I paid the $25, that's all I paid because that's what they said. But then I continued to use the credit card, thinking my bill would go down because I'm paying this $25. It continued to go up. And the reason it continued to go up because my interest rate was 25%. I could not understand that. So I called the credit card company and was like, I'm paying the $25 y'all told me to pay. Why is my bill not going down? And they was like, ma'am, your credit card has an interest rate of 25%. So you're not even paying the minimum interest rate fee. So that's why your bill will continue to go up. And so I stopped using the credit card, but I continued to pay the $25. I had 25 credit cards when I went to Germany, yes. So what I did, I went to pretty much every department store and got a credit card because I saw my mom doing this. So she went to JCPenney, she went to Belk, she went to Montgomery Ward, she went to Sears, Walmart, every company that had a card. I went and got those cards as well. Now, I should have learned the first time when I got the JCPenney's card and it was 25% interest, but no, I did not. So I continued to go get credit cards. And so that was a 3-year journey. And then when I moved from Arizona to Germany, I had a financial advisor, which he was my NCOIC, and he was like, bring in all your bills. I want to sit down and go over them with you. And I told my husband, and he was like, we're not bringing all our bills in. Who this man think he is? But he was my NCOIC, so I couldn't say no. My NCOIC is a non-commissioned officer. He was an E6 in the United States Army. He was the person that counseled me. He was the person that helped me build my career. And so I looked up to him. We finally brought all the bills in, sat down with him, and he explained how I needed to pay all these bills off, because that's how I learned to pay my bills off. I had over 20 credit cards, and I was about $27,000 in debt as an E4, making pennies on the dollar. From 1994 to 1997, we were paying about $700 a month to pay these credit cards off. And I was 23, 24, 25, 23, 24, 25. Kind of didn't learn from that. I did it again. This time I did American Express, I did Visa, I did Discover card. So I got all the major cards. And so what happened with that was we got them from 2000 to 2004, maybe 2000 to 2004. And that total was over $30,000. And so we paid that off in like 3 years. And then we just went to one credit card. My husband has one and I have one. I decided to do it again because we were traveling and I thought this was easier to use a credit card. During that time, I was with this bank that didn't give me a debit card, so I had to use checks for everything. I went and got credit cards so I wouldn't have to use checks. We just chose Visa, American Express, and Discover because these were the 3 big companies, and he had a card, I had a card, and we both had a card. So There were no annual fees, but the interest rate was crazy again. And so we paid off one, we paid off the second one, and then we paid off the third one, and we kept the third one. Not during that time, it was no cash backs, it was no additional benefits. It was just you just had that card to swipe. I wanted to be transparent with y'all because I'm like, I know a lot of people are dealing with this, but I'm like, you know what? Once you start sharing your story, or once do a journal, write it down, because I'm telling you, it's so alleviating just to share this story with you. I tell it to all my friends, I tell it to people I meet, because I just love letting people know about finances and that they're not the only ones that struggle, just like me. Think of it like a wellness check. You can't treat what you don't know. So let's think about it. You need to know how much money coming in. You need to know how much money going out. And then you also need to know how much money you have extra, or are you in the hole. So let me share a story with you. In the 2000s, the early 2000s, I used my credit card to buy a bottle of water because I didn't have no money in my savings or in my checking. And I was so embarrassed to swipe my card. I know nowadays everybody swipe their card for $1 or whatever, but me, I can't do that. I will always like to have some change, or I want to have a couple of dollars or something. Quick tip, use Mint or even a notes app. Track your spending for 7 days. Think about it. Something new, something different. All right, so now you know how much you got coming in, how much you're going out, how much is you're saving to meet those ends meet. So now let's go how you budget it. You have to come up with some type of plan in order to know your needs, your wants, paying off your debt, and your savings. Your needs are the things inside your house. So first of all, your rent or your mortgage, your electric bill, your gas bill, your water bill, your cell phone or your personal phone. Cable, that's a want. Streaming, all these additional gadgets that you need on your cell phone. Debt, that's a want. That's not a need. So you got to figure out what are your needs and what are your wants. And then you need the 20% savings, because with that savings, that allows you some money to spend. And not overthink that, oh, I'm just giving, and I'm not celebrating myself. So how you celebrate yourself is with your savings, and then you go out and you celebrate yourself. Not overboard. So is this when I'm fit to talk about the house? Because I went crazy on the house. Are you still celebrating Mother's Day with breakfast in bed? How would you feel about adding to your tradition? Blings and Things is a Mother's Day celebration event for you and your children. On May 9th from 11 to 2, we'll have live music and dancing, mommy and me photos, bingo, spoken word, a raffle, treats and refreshment, and more, so you could have some quality time with your kids and other moms. Tickets for you and your children to Bling and Things at Rancho 181 are available now. Click the link to grab your tickets while you can. They're only on sale till May 3rd. So when I was paying off my debt, my needs were like 50%. My wants went into my savings. So my needs was 50%, my wants was 50%, because that's how I wanted to pay my debt off, get it paid off as soon as possible. And during that time, the economy was totally different than it is now. So I know that this may be a hard process, but it's some way that you can manage and start working on your needs, wants, savings, and paying your debts. So I moved to San Antonio about 7 years, 9 months ago. And when we came here, we knew we wanted a house. We knew we were going to retire here. And so my budget was only $200,000. And so we kept looking at houses, but they all had stairs, and I did not want a house with stairs. So we had to buy a new house that took our budget over $100,000. And so I was so adamant about paying this house off in 5.5 years. So COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it shut everything down. And I decided all this money that I was using to travel with, I'm going to pay this house off. And so it took us actually 3 years to pay the house off, because the first 2.5 years we only paid $20,000 on the house, outside the interest. When COVID shut down and I made the switch to start paying my house off, we paid $6,000 a month. You know, it's a schedule of telling you how much your premium is, how much your interest is, and then it tells you how much you're paying towards your premium after you make your house note. So what I did, I counted 5 months down, and then that's how I came up with paying $6,000 every month to pay the house off in 3 years. So even though you're saving aggressively, paying off something aggressively, it's so many free things in your city. It doesn't always have to be about money. It always just have to be about peace within yourself. All right, let me tell you one thing I do. I do look at my bank account quite often. I do. Like at the beginning of the month when I pay my bills, I look at it every day for about 10 days. Even though I know that money is going down, but I look at it because I want to be reminded that, you know, I got to continue to know what's in my bank account. And I don't want to be in the red. I want to be in the black. So continue to look at your bank account. You don't have to do it every day like I do, but at least do it once a week, every other day, or every 3 days. But don't go from looking at it on the 1st to looking at it on the 30th. That's not going to work for you. You won't know how your money is moving and what you need to do with your money. So I suggest start out easy, once a week, and then you get more comfortable and you'll start looking at it more. Don't avoid it. I'm going to leave you with this wonderful affirmation. I am not my past financial decision. I am what I choose to do starting today. So I would like to do just a little recap on what we have discussed today. Understanding our money, how much is coming in, how much is going out. We also talked about budgeting. We have to set up some type of plan in order to know what is happening with our finances. And we always must remember that we must save. We have to save in order to spend. If you're not saving, you're just swiping. All right, this week's challenge, and I'm going to do it with you. Check your bank account every day for 7 days. Just look. No pressure to change anything yet. Get comfortable with your numbers. We just fed your bank account. Now let's literally feed your body. Next time we're talking about plant-based meals and eating the rainbow. See you next time on Rooted and Rising.